Welcome to the TikTok podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Hey friends, welcome to my favorite day of the week. It is our Friday bonus episode. It's a feature Friday bonus episode. And right before we hit record today, my guest and I were just saying what a delight, what a privilege, what an honor, how grateful we are that in the middle of a day, we can sit, make time for what matters, have a conversation, and connect. And the best part is, not only do we get to do that together, but we get to do that with all of our friends that are listening and watching today. And I do want to say a quick shout out that if you normally listen, you may want to pop on over to our YouTube channel to watch today's episode. You can find that in the show notes. So, who is my guest today? For those of you who are at the edge of your seat, this amazing, amazing woman has reached what we would consider the pinnacle of success and leadership in Mary Kay Cosmetics as a national sales director and served many women in that position for many years. She's mentored thousands of women as an active national sales director and continues to, which is the beauty of that company and the opportunity. She continues to do that in these last 10 years of retirement. What a gift to be able to have that as your career and also have that as your calling. She is also the legend behind the egg and the broom trick. If you know, you know. A new accolade for her is a proud grandmother to be. She is going to be welcoming her first grandchild, a little girl. She has 2 sons, and a husband, of course. So this is going to be a whole new adventure for her, and we are so excited. Also, let me just throw out a few other fun little tidbits about her. She is a butterfly mentor. She, of course, is a prayer warrior if you know her. She's a listening ear, a speech writer, a picture poser. She does the best poses in pictures with her friends, a storyteller, a world traveler, and she is a tour giver. And on a personal note, I want to say that for the past almost 2 decades, not only has she been my mom's best friend, but she has also been on her knees as a prayer warrior. She's probably prayed for you and you didn't even know it. But for me, I know that she not only prayed my babies here into existence, she was there on some of the biggest and best and hardest days of my life personally and professionally. She's the reason that I live down the street from my mom because her prayers reached to heaven. And she's the kind of woman that I know anything that is sacred to me is sacred to her. And I don't think that there's a more important role than an honorary auntie. So, TikTok world, yes, please welcome my Aunt Kendra Crist Cross. And one last thing, Aunt Kendra, my friend Dawn wrote a book, and there's a chapter in the book that says you can't have all the gifts. But I think there's one exception, and that exception is you. You have every gift, and you're a gift to so many. So please welcome to the show, Kendra Crist Cross.
Thank you. It's an honor. And I was part of a prayer circle that prayed for many of those things. I just want to make sure you hear that.
That is true. I do have some other really special aunties. I'm sure they'll be on the show too. So not to discount them at all in the least. It was and is a group effort. That's for sure.
Amen. Amen.
That's for sure. So when I asked you to be on the show, not only did I just want you here selfishly because I hang on every word you say, doesn't matter what the topic is, but there's one topic in particular that I have learned a lot from you. I still have a long way to go, but there are some seasons that you're more proud of me than others, and it's true. So let me just set the stage. 1 year ago, my son Braden and I, he was 14, we traveled to Europe for 2 weeks, and drum roll please, we traveled in a carry-on suitcase each. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
And I've never been more proud to send that picture to my Aunt Kendra and said, we did it, we did it.
You did it.
So today we're going to talk, I believe, about some practicality and the mentality of packing. And we're
Love
going to
it.
unpack it. Let's do it.
Love it. Let's do it. I think, Callie, you really mentioned it. You gave some insight here. Packing a suitcase is a lot like positioning yourself to life with intention, with purpose, priorities, and relationships. And so when you get ready to go on a trip, you have to be thinking, what am I going to be doing? Who am I going to be with? What kinds of activities are we going to be having? Because each trip is so very, very different. Why am I going? Who am I going to be with? What do I hope to accomplish? Well, in my mind, what I don't want to accomplish is always be thinking about my stuff. I want to be so open to what's around me and who's around me instead of where's my stuff. I have so much stuff. Who's going to get my stuff? And so many decisions, I think, before a trip need to be made before you put one thing in the suitcase. I love your title here, TikTok, taking time for what matters. And so on a trip, what really matters? Well, here we go. Packing for a trip is an approach to life. What's your purpose? Already talked about that. Second is intentionality. Check the weather before you go. Don't rely on an encyclopedia. Look at your weather app. What's happening there next week when you're going to be there? What are the highs? What are the lows? And pack according to that instead of getting there and saying, well, it's always warm in May and now I'm freezing and I have to buy stuff. Do your homework, friends. Do your homework and don't be surprised. I've found that making the decisions on the front end as opposed to while you're there is so much less stressful. Instead of putting in a raincoat and an umbrella, well, what if it rains? Well, look at the forecast. Are there any chances of rain? If it says 30% chance of rain on 2 days, that means there's a 70% chance that it won't rain. So 70% chance that I'm not going to need an umbrella. I think I'm going to pack a plastic poncho that is 4 square inches and fits in the bottom of my purse. That's what I'm going to do if there is a 70% chance of sun that day. So be thinking about that. Check that out before you even go. And then take as little as possible. I like to play a game. How many times can I wear these pants? How many times can I wear this sweater? How many times can I wear this top? And how many times can I interchange them? The mentality of thinking that we need to wear something different every single day or change 3 times in a day, taking 21 separate outfits for a week, to me is foolhardy. Why would I do that? Why would I drag all of those clothes across the ocean so that I can wear it for 3 hours? In my mind, that just does not make any sense. So I eliminate those decisions before we even go. And I have a little conversation with my clothes. I lay them out and then I say, how many times can I wear you? If I cannot wear you at least 3 times, you don't get to go on this trip. Maybe the next one, sorry. And you talk to them just like Marie talks to her clothes. Are they sparking joy? Is this going to offer something when I do get there? So how many times can I wear these pants? How many times can I wear these tops? Let's switch them out. Let's be resourceful and let's be creative. How few shoes can I take? How many black flats do I need? How many flip-flops do I need? One. You need 1 pair of black flats, 1 pair of flip. No, don't, Callie. And a pair of
I was holding up 10 fingers.
and a pair of kitten heels. And the kitten heels can look great with a dress or great with straight leg jeans. I mean, the endless possibilities. So take as little as possible and eliminate that whole, well, what if I change my mind? They have stores. Buy something. Don't drag it across the ocean and then worry if it's going to make your connecting flight. So, intentionality really matters. When it comes to packing, I take along clothes that are low maintenance. And you know what I found out? I found out that I have begun to surround myself with people who are low maintenance. And it wasn't even intentional. Now I realize I don't want something that I need to iron once I get there. I don't want something that's going to show dirt. I want the lowest maintenance clothing I can have. And in friendships, lifelong friendships of trust and loyalty and mutual transparency are low maintenance. And if I don't talk to that person in a week or 2 weeks, she doesn't think our friendship is on the ropes. She's that woman's life is full. And hey, this phone goes both ways. Those are the kind of friends that own real estate in my heart. I'll tell you what. And those are the kind of clothes I like to take. I like it to be, I take out the clothes that I pack the clothes on the bottom that I am not going to need right away. Example, if we have a layover, on the top of my suitcase, I will put what I'm going to sleep in and what I'm going to wear. That is not at the bottom. The things that I don't need for a couple days are going to be at the bottom. Then when I get them out, I try to hang it up right away, spray it with this wonderful little travel size wrinkle release. It's for clothes. It's not for your skin, but I just spray
We have
it.
that too, right? We have
Yeah,
that
we
for
do.
this
We
too.
do. And then just hang it up and put that suitcase at the back of the closet. It's so freeing. It is so freeing. So I roll my clothes and then I tuck my intimate apparel into my shoes, into the pockets on the side, because if for any reason it gets pulled out at TSA, I don't want this to be a mutually embarrassing situation. So I just tuck those kind of things in the corner. And shoes, I always wrap them in a shower cap, a disposable shower cap. And it's a lot like insulating myself from people with attitudes that are just not life-giving. I protect my clothing from my shoes, and I protect my mind from people who are not life-giving, who are not edifying, who want to spread gossip. I just don't have time for that, and I don't have time for dirt on my clothes. So I put a shower cap around my shoes, and it looks interesting, but at the same time, it makes so much sense. And then when you get home, you just toss the shower cap. You don't need to use that again. And then jewelry, minimal, minimal, minimal. And I don't take anything of value other than my wedding band. I don't take good jewelry when we travel, because then again, you're thinking about a safe and you're thinking about, oh, I hope my stuff is okay while I'm out experiencing God's wonder. I don't have time for that. Great costume jewelry, and I don't take much. I take something, I've got to wear it 3 or 4 times. One or two pair of gold earrings, 1 or 2 pair of silver earrings, and maybe a necklace, maybe not. But nobody cares once we get there except me. I'm the one. And if I'm okay with it, it seems to be pretty much okay with everybody else. Another thing that I never do, I rarely do, is check my luggage. Maybe it's a power, maybe it's a control issue, I don't know. But if I have it with me, it can't get lost. If I have it with me, If there's medication I need, it's there. If I have it with me, I have a toothbrush. If I have it with me, my cosmetics and my clothes, if I have it with me, I don't have to rely on someone else. All of this drastically changed for me about, it was in 1990. So if you weren't even born yet, don't talk to me right now. In 1990, we were in Florence, Italy on a beautiful, beautiful trip. And I saw a friend of mine, her husband was pushing a luggage trolley with 6 suitcases on it. We were only gone 12 days. And I said, "Oh my goodness, is all of this yours?" And he said, "This is hers. Mine's over by the door." My husband turned to me and said these words that changed my life. "Kendra, don't ever do that to me." And what I realized was I was imposing my lack of being able to make a decision onto someone else, my dear husband, to transport my luggage. Now, if we need to switch a flight, if we need to volunteer, and we have our luggage with us, we get selected first because there's no luggage issue. I can run through an airport with a 22-inch. I still can. And yeah.
You
Do
know,
you have a question or a comment right now?
no, I don't have I mean, of course, I always have 1,000 questions and 1,000 comments. So far, well, I've already taken a page of notes, and I already know this from you. So I don't know what that says about me. School's never out for the pro, and I am not a pro at this. I love how you're intertwining the message. This is not just about stuff. It's not just about being efficient. It's about who we are at our core and what we really prioritize and who we prioritize. And I'm just going to tell on myself. I am getting better, but I am such a work in progress. Josh and I went to France, to Paris. The kids were little, 2 and 3. And I can't even believe I'm getting ready to say this in front of you, but I'm going to do it. We each had 2 suitcases, pretty much maxed out at 50 pounds. In one of my suitcases, I had my peacock dress, if anybody's ever seen that. Literally, how many times do you think I'm going to wear a peacock dress over there? It's not more than once. And there were no elevators or even escalators there. We are hauling 100 pounds each up and down stairs. Not only that, but every European there is staring at us with daggers in their eyes, right?
Knowing we're Americans. Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
awful. And then we get to our hotel at Kendra, and we couldn't even fit both of our suitcases and one person in the elevator. We had to one at a time. And there was only room for one person in one suitcase. We get to our room, and it was like our room said, no, 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 no. Like, but we had to make it work. And our suitcases had sat out somewhere and gotten rained on. So we had to unzip them and lay all of our clothes on our. Okay.
Did you wear them?
I mean,
Clothes?
I wore the peacock dress.
100 pounds each.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
100 pounds each. But I will say, like your moment, that was a defining moment. And we did say never again.
It's an attitude.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are full of amazing little tips. I know one of the things too that you've taught my mom, and my mom has come such a long way. She is your best student. She traveled 3 weeks last year in Europe with a carry-on and even said she brought too much. So one of the things you've taught her is a color scheme. I love this. Will you tell us about that?
Yes. I like to choose 1 or 2 base colors. If it is black, and blue or black and gray or black and white, or you choose some base colors, and then everything that you take has to work with those two colors. You don't take one outfit that requires, if it's red, like red pants, that's why you're taking your red shoes. But I can't wear that red with anything else that I take. Well, don't take it. You can talk to the pants and shoes and say, maybe the next trip, or I'll wear it the day I get back, but you're not going on this trip. Having that conversation, I think, is sometimes just so very helpful. But I choose one or two colors. I choose two colors and then several accent colors. And all of that mixes and matches. I wear a lot of blue and a lot of gray. So if I would choose blue and gray as my base colors, then my accent colors, everything has either blue in it, gray in it, or one of the accents, which could be teal, yellow, or watermelon. And when you're working with that, it opens up such a new avenue of possibilities that you've never thought of before, because you're thinking linearly instead of the whole spectrum. And then you think, oh my goodness, those darling blue flats that I got are going to go with all of these outfits. In fact, I could wear them with everything. You take one or two purses and a small evening purse, a tote to travel with, and maybe a medium size crossbody bag or something like that. But this thought of having to have a purse for every outfit, and jewelry for every outfit, and shoes for every outfit is dated. In my small mind, is dated. And I look at the way my husband travels. Nobody's asked him to leave because he's inappropriate. And so why do I feel as though I need to dazzle the world with all of my clothes? I would rather impress others with how versatile I was able to pack, with how much you can just mix and match. And when you do this in such small quantities, let's do a couple visuals here. Here would be an example of minimizing. This is my complete skincare. It's not my color. I have a color palette, but candidly, I do 13 steps before I put color on. And that sounds like an awful lot, but I don't touch my face the rest of the day. And I do the same thing at night. So it's all in here, and it's enough for 10 to 12 days.
And for those of you that are listening, we're
Oh,
gonna put some
thank you.
pictures. No, you're great. We're gonna put some pictures in our TikTok tribe. That's our Facebook group. And Kendra just showed us a mesh bag, and it had little vials, like little travel containers, all labeled with your product. And you said that's enough for 10 to 12 days.
10 to 12 days.
13 steps each. So you're not skimping. Okay, that's important. Gotta make room for what matters. Okay,
yes.
Go ahead.
Invest in a travel size toothpaste and toothbrush that you throw away at the end of your 10 days. There's enough toothpaste in there for 10 to 14 days. I do the same with hair care. I have minimal hair care products, a small brush, a small hairspray, shampoo, conditioner, just tiny. You don't need those giant bottles to travel with. Another thing that makes my life so much easier, this is a mesh bag filled with all my wires. It has chargers and what are these called?
The blocks and the adapters.
Thank you. For both Android and iPhone, in case there's somebody on our trip who needs an Android. Anyway, including a cigarette lighter charger thing. And then this has been a lifesaver. It's the size of a credit card. This is my phone charger. And I have it always charged and with me in the bottom of my purse. It just simplifies life. And I think the longer that you're on this planet, the more you realize what's really important. And what's really important is knowing your purpose, is having intention when it comes to relationships, when it comes to authenticity, and all of that other stuff doesn't matter. In this chapter of my life, I remember a number of years ago, they said, you're ready to enter the seventh level when I was turning 70. And I thought, I like that. I like thinking of stepping up to the seventh level. And in the seventh level, the things around me become less and less important. I would much rather have an experience as a gift rather than one more thing to put on my wall or to sit beside me. I love flowers. I love that kind of thing, but I love an experience. Um, my husband gives me a half day at a local spa as Christmas gift every year, and I would never do that for a whole half day myself, but I anticipated, and he's off the proverbial hook, he says, because he knows it's something I love. It's not something I have to take with me. It's an experience, or tickets to go somewhere, or dinner out, or a picnic lunch and a sunset. Oh, just mean the world to me. Just those kinds of experiences. I got a little bit off track, but it's all about intention and not being concerned about all of this stuff that's around me. When I pack with an attitude of expectancy, an attitude of of joy. You know, I learned something so interesting. Do you know the difference, Callie, between a tourist and a traveler? Would you have any idea?
I don't know. Tell me.
Thank you. I'm so glad you asked. A tourist is someone with very high expectations and almost a sense of entitlement. I am scheduled to do this at 2 o'clock and it didn't happen. The bus was late, or I didn't get my luggage, or dinner wasn't served on time. That's what a tourist does. And a tourist takes a lot of, anyway, a traveler is fluid. A traveler is flexible. A traveler is all about people and the experience as opposed to what am I getting out of this? And so I realized that God has this extraordinary world around me. And I can find joy and adventure 1 mile from here. I don't have to cross the ocean to find it. I think one of the things that your mom and I discovered at the same time was to reappreciate and rediscover our hometown. What makes our town so special? What, is there a walking tour? What's the history? Where are the best happy hours? Where can you get the best deal for lunch? What makes this place unique? Where is the funkiest place in town? Um, are there any people in this town that are noteworthy that we just want to take out for coffee and get to know? We don't have to drive hours to go see something. It's right here. And I think one of the best times the four of us had, your parents and Bob and me, was packing a lunch and going out to Lido Beach, enjoying a sunset picnic together, and then the glory of watching the sunset, even though it has happened every day for the last 6,000 plus years. People still applaud the sunset. Last night, after that amazing eclipse during the day, we were out on the beach and watching the sunset once again, and people applauded. And I thought, good for you. It's great. It is a glory to be able to do that and not think there's nothing to do in this little town of mine. It's just not like that. Anyway, it excites me when people come together with intention, with purpose, not thinking so much about how do I look, how am I presenting myself, but who is this person? What makes her tick? What's her story? To be able to ask that question, say, you know, what is your story? And that's what you do every Friday. Is you select someone out of your vast catalog of friends and acquaintances and say, what's your story? Where do you believe you shine the brightest? What can you bring to the rest of my friends? Where is your strength? Where's your passion? Where is your skill set? What's your wheelhouse? The other day, I was reading such an interesting book. It's called Amish Grace. And it's the tragic story of the nickel mine shooting that happened over 20 years ago in Lancaster when a gunman went into a little Amish schoolhouse and several lives were lost that day. This was all about forgiveness and grace. And it's called Amish Grace. And it's one way to live it out. One of the men was quoted as saying, "We are called to reflect the light of God. We are born to make evident the light of God within us, but not to shine it in other people's eyes. We are born to reflect God's light, but not shine it in other people's eyes," meaning, I'm really doing a good job here, aren't I? It's not about that. It's to let your light so shine before men that they will see your good works and do what? Bring glory to your Father who is in heaven. And forgiveness does that, brings glory to your Father who's in heaven. And you're not thinking about how many things are wrong around you. Two of my favorite life verses, one of them is, again, it's a reflection on travel. It's be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and fervent in prayer. Be joy-filled with hope, patient and forbearing when the tough times come, and remain fervent in prayer. So as we're approaching our trips, let's be filled with hope. Let's be patient when our flight is delayed or the ticket agent is less than forthcoming with how long it's going to be. And then fervent in prayer. Instead of complaining about a delay, Father, not why did this happen, but what would you have me do and how would you have me respond? We were traveling to Hawaii, one of my first Mary Kay trips. And I remember Greg Franklin was dealing with a delay. And he had all of these nationals and their husbands. And all of us had an idea of how this should be handled. And Greg, just in a little aside to me, said, we can catch a lot more flies with honey than we can with vinegar. And I watched him work with this ticket agent. It was extraordinary. Instead of muscling his way in and throwing his power around because there were so many people, he said things like, this is a tough job and I appreciate it. We've got a lot of people to keep happy. So how can we work this out so that everybody gets to where they want to go? And it was extraordinary. She moved mountains for us because why? You can catch a lot more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. So remarkable. I loved that. So that's my first life verse, is be joyful in hope, fervent, patient in affliction, and fervent in prayer. And Hebrews 12:12, I learned from Kathy Halou, Executive National Sales Director Emeritus, Elite Executive National Sales Director. She said, Hebrews 12:12, take hold with your weary hands, stand strong on your shaky legs, lay out the path before you and make it straight, so that those who come behind you, though they be weak and lame, will be made strong. And I thought, what does that even mean? It means keep on when you feel like giving up. Take hold with your weary hands. Stand strong on unsure legs. Be purpose-filled. Lay out the path before you, intention. Make it straight. Why am I doing this? So that those who come behind you, though they be weak and lame, will be encouraged and made strong. 18 years ago, I met with Dr. Nathan Baxter to help discover my purpose in life. He said, you've got to know your purpose in order to be successful at this business. What is it? I had no idea. I had no idea. And it took 3 days. I prayed, I cried, I wrung my hands, and he wouldn't give me an answer. He said, "This is your answer." I said, "Just give me something to go on, something to go on." And he said, "What are you good at? What do you believe God has called you to?" Long story short, I found out that my purpose in life, so simple yet so profound, is to be a voice of hope and encouragement. And everything I do is colored by that purpose, to be a voice of hope and encouragement. So, is gossiping about someone's moral failure being a voice of hope and encouragement? No. Is speaking in a disparaging way about some wrong that was done to someone else and not even me being a voice of hope and encouragement? No. Is telling someone else what she should do? No. How can I be a voice of hope and encouragement? Let your light so shine before men that they'll see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. What can I do to bring hope and encouragement to those of you who want to travel with a 22-inch? What can I do to be a voice of encouragement? I want to say it can be done. It's a process. It doesn't happen all at once, but you will have a defining moment when you realize what's really important in this world, and you'll begin to live it out.
So, you are a voice of hope and encouragement. And I was thinking, I saw a little post the other day that says, I've never remembered what anyone else looked like in a bathing suit at the swimming pool. It was a nod to who cares, right? Nobody has ever remembered what anybody else looked like in a bathing suit at the pool. Put the bathing suit on, go to the pool with your kids. In the same vein, when I think about all the memories that I've had traveling, not one of them have been around what somebody was wearing. Although the peacock dress, that is
I was
iconic.
going to say,
That's iconic.
Little caveat there. One aside.
That's the only
sidebar.
only exception. And I remember coming to visit you in Sarasota. I remember you're taking us to a little diner, sitting outside in the beautiful weather of South Florida, having a hamburger, having some ice cream, sitting with you and my mom and having memories, and Bob was there too. And I don't remember what we were wearing, but I do remember how it made me feel. And I felt loved, and I felt welcomed, and I felt joyful in that moment. And that's what this conversation is about. I wasn't bringing baggage. I wasn't bringing anything that was weighing me down, right? I was just there in the moment, and I was there in the moment with you.
I love that. I love that. And the things that weigh us down could be bricks. Think of the bricks of unforgiveness. Think of the bricks, like you just said, of comparison. And think of a brick of procrastination. I'll do it someday. And what if, after all of this careful planning and intention and purpose, we would lay those 3 bricks in our suitcase? You wouldn't do that. So why would I take that through life? Wouldn't it be so much better if I replaced that procrastination with intention? Wouldn't it be better and see it as a feather? Wouldn't it be better for me and those I love if I could replace that comparison with a stronger sense of who God has called me to be, that feather of accepting who I am and realizing there's nobody else like that, or the feather of forgiveness to replace the brick of unforgiveness? It's so much easier traveling through life that way instead of dragging all of this stuff with us. You know, Bob said when we came down 7 years ago, that's not right, 12 years ago, we began investing 6 to 7 months here in Florida and 5 to 6 months in our hometown in Indiana. And Bob said, only take a carry-on. They have stores there.
Right, they do. They do.
He regrets that a little bit because now I have
Yeah, be careful what you say,
closets,
Bob.
2 complete pot closets in both places. I rarely take clothes when we travel back. Why? Why would I do that? If I have a favorite outfit, maybe. Maybe if I had a peacock dress, I would drag it
The peacock
back and
dress.
forth.
I'm gonna
But
have to post the peacock dress now in the
yeah, I wish
notes
you
too.
would.
I will. It's an
Is it teal?
incredible.
Is it teal or
It is.
purple?
It's teal. It's yeah,
As, as it should be.
as it should
Amazing.
be.
I've just thought about your parents. The one time that that my luggage did not arrive, we were on a national trip to Milan. Neither Bob's suitcase nor mine arrived. Do you know whose clothes we wore? Your parents. We did. We went to the welcome dinner that evening in the clothes we had traveled in, and I looked around. Who's close to my size? Well, Kate, for goodness sake. And I love her style. So I said, Kate, I need something to wear tomorrow. And Bob was standing there. He said, Dave, you got a shirt? So the next day, I was in Kate's dress and Bob was in Dave's shirt. And nobody said anything about it. It was 3 days. So I did ask for a second dress and he did ask for a second shirt. But we pretty much wore the same thing for 3 days. And it was
now
a real
it's
celebration.
I was gonna say, and now it's one of the best parts of the story.
It was one of the
Yeah,
best parts was those first 3 days.
the first 3 days.
Because you're not thinking about yourself
Mm,
anymore. You are trying to deflect as much as possible.
that's true. That's true. Well, what a precious and priceless conversation. The things that we think life is about, many times, if we'll just take a pause, it's really not. It's about the intangibles. It's about who we're with. It's about what's in our heart. It's about where we're going. So thank you for bringing that to light, shining a light on that for us. So Aunt Kendra, I always have a gift. I present a gift at the end, and it's not a real gift, but it's the idea of one. I know. You'll be getting a thank you note in the mail.
My
So I
love
asked for
language.
your address. Yeah,
My
you'll be
love
getting a thank you
language.
note.
That's great.
So the gift is a pretend bonus hour. It's not an hour taken from any other part of your day. If I were to give you this extra hour, what would you do with it?
I I would I would have a conversation with our 2 sons. These young men are smart. They are believers. They are experienced. They're in their 40s. I would love to have an hour with them, just them. Not even my wonderful husband, just them, and hear their hearts and hear their insight and hear their thoughts. And it is such a joy to have a relationship with your adult children. And you think every prayer was well invested, every tear was worth it, every moment of frustration when you think, I'm not doing anything right, you get to, you get to hear their hearts and realize they have become magnificent men and they're making a difference in this world. And it's a joy to be part of their lives. Yeah, that would be, that's how I would love to invest an hour. You know, time, I just thought of this. Time is like money. You can spend it or you can invest it. An hour with our sons would be an investment. When I watch The Crown on TV, I'm spending time, but investing it in a conversation, a purpose-filled conversation with intention and love and mutual respect is such a wise investment. Oh my goodness. Thank you for
Wow.
that gift.
Yes. And of course, my prayer is that God would grant you that gift and that opportunity. and that you would be able to have that. And I know that you are so intentional with them. And so I pray that you'll find that time and they'll be able to find that time together. So speaking of that, thank you for unpacking all of this for us today.
Oh, good one.
Yep, I was waiting on that one. Were you waiting for it? Were you waiting for it? But you really did. You gave us so much to put into our lives about purpose, about intentionality, about attitude of expectation, about who we are supposed to be. What are we taking with us through this life? What kind of voice do we want to be? What are we called to do? All of these things. These are the things we're going to pack in for us today. And thank you for all of it.
Love that. Thank you, Callie.
All right. Be sure that you go to our Facebook group, everyone, so you can see the peacock dress as well as all of the other great little tips that I'm going to post in there for Aunt Kendra. Well, God bless everyone. Thank you for listening and visiting with us today. Thank you for joining me on the TikTok podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.